It's time for the show, and my audio works. Yay. Think we're streaming everywhere. All right, enough singing. Let's get going. Turn this off. Nope. Hi, welcome back to the 9th episode of You Can't Do That on Salesforce. You can't do that. You can't do RPGs. What we're doing today. And where are we? What did we see last week? First of all, y'all are seeing the wrong date or the wrong episode. Let's fix that. I'm going to get the chat up here in a minute. Hope everybody had a great holiday. And hope everybody has a great holiday coming up. And let's see if I can fix that. Yahoo! Welcome to episode 9. Alrighty. Let's get some chat going here. This chat is ready to display messages. What's going on? All right. We had Ghosts and Goblins, and then I had a scratch org that needed to be refreshed. So I have everything but their pictures back in. So we'll go ahead and add those back. What did we build last week? We did a lot of Lightning Web Component work to get the UI of our game in our flow, displaying what we wanted to display. And then we stumbled upon a component that was reusable for displaying images. And we went down this path of creating a content version image component whose sole purpose in life is to render a picture. We did a little bit of work with the GraphQL in the LWC. I'm a complete noob to this stuff, but I was happy to muddle through it and felt like I learned a little bit. And I definitely think this is going to be pretty powerful as time goes on. And, no doubt the replacement of SOQL, unless maybe they update the SOQL syntax and it actually just sort of wraps the GraphQL stuff in the background. But I digress. We have this component now that will show images, and that's cool. The component itself expects a few parameters, so we can pass in the linked entity ID is literally like what record is the file related to, and then content document title filter is what are you calling your images. We use like a convention that you can pass in. So I think in our character we can pass this filter in. So whatever image related to that record has underscore headshot at the end of it, then that's what we're going to use to display. And I actually had to repopulate that data because I just lost it with the scratch org refresh. I have a script that generates data for us, which is kind of handy. I'm actually trying to move some of this Apex. You pick this, hit execute Apex like that, but I'm not going to do that because I already did that. And then it produces data for you. What it doesn't do is put the images back on these monsters and these characters. I also want to move as much of this Apex into the CLI. So to be able to just run a script instead. And I added one thing here. Whenever I create the scratch org, I need to assign a permission set to the user that gets created, to the user. The user. That's the default user that you log into your scratch org with, and its name is first name user, last name user. We have this YCDRPG admin permission set group that needs to be assigned. This call in the CLI to assign a perm set or a permission set actually also works for permission set groups. So you can use it for both. There isn't a specific command for permission set groups versus permission sets, which are two different objects. Permission set groups are collections of permission sets. Y'all probably get it. So I ran that script to give myself access. I ran this create data script to regenerate the data that we use for our games. And we should be good to go. And what I need to do is get the org into a screen so y'all can see it. And somewhere I'm going to find that. And yep. Okay. That was a little weird, but we're good. Let's see. We need a screen for this. Oops. Where to go? Let's go here. I want to show GitHub a little bit too, because I've been piling stuff in the README file to manage sort of the backlog of features that I think the app needs, and I moved all that into GitHub as a project, and then trying to also use issues and stuff like that. So basically, just be a good kid and keep track of all of that in the system that should be doing it. So yeah, we're gonna we're gonna do it right and work from there. Alrighty, that is where I want to go, and I might actually have this org open already. I did have this org open already, but it's not open anymore, so let's open it up and get it on screen. Happy to have been able to push all the metadata into the Scratch org, no issues this time. I feel like there was a weird field issue the last time we had to do that, but yeah, it was not a problem. So let's get this out here, and let's add a browser window somewhere. Show hide. It's not those. Oh, browser, VS Code off, on, browser, edit you. No, I don't need my crash report, thanks. We want a Google Chrome that has home Salesforce in it. There we go. Let's resize this a little bit to fit. All right, pretty good. Little lower. Nope, I'm adjusting the bottom. All right. Oh, I see. Yeah, that should be close enough. Okay, cool. There we are. We're in our org. Got it. Good. Here we go. So let's first update our characters and our monsters images. Make sure that whole thing is still working. We've got our usual suspects back in here: Hermione, Merlin, and Thor. We might have to update we do have to update the page layout to include, well, actually we could just go to files, right? I think we could upload those from here and then relate them to the and actually we can get all these in at once, maybe. Oh, yeah, let's try that. I just have to fix that Merlin headshot name. Let's edit the details of this one, because that's our convention, right? So we're going to use whatever underscore headshot, and we don't get a preview, but that's okay. These are all ping files. So one thing that our component expects is some image that can be rendered, in a browser. Ping, GIF, pretty much, you know the drill. There's a handful of those. So we're gonna use that. And then we do need to associate these with other records. Can I do that from here? Nope. I don't want to share with people. I want to relate to other. I'm probably going to need that files link. And I thought I could just come in here and relate it from the files view, but I guess I can't. Let's do. Is this the full related list? I think it is. Go to our character layout, and I must not have grabbed. I felt like we did this, but maybe I didn't grab the latest. So I hope we have, most of our code in place here. Quick save there. Oh, go back. I didn't make any changes, so I think we're safe. Files here, and there we go. This is Hermione. Last time, I don't know if y'all remember, the files was being real weird, and didn't just didn't want to work. It just looped, infinite loop all day long. So here's Merlin, right? Yep. And here's Thor. Stable Diffusion was my AI-driven image generator of choice. I haven't jumped on a paid account for ChatGPT yet, but probably will at some point. Okay, there's all of our images for our characters. Let's add our images to our monsters. We should have Ghost and Goblin in here. And most important, we got to edit this layout too. Let's edit page. Related list. Related list in files. Put that here. Quick save. Yes. And close. Well, go back here and go here and leave. And add files. Ghost headshot and Goblin headshot here. Okay. Now, should be able to go to our flow, start a new game, and let's see here, new game. Let's run this. Debug you. Let's get a new game going. G1. Pick from our characters. I'm going to use our existing characters. Thor, Merlin, Hermione. This isn't a very fancy UI, but gets the job done. Done adding characters. Thank you very much. All right, we're all set. So now we've got a game. So now that we have a game, we need our play function. And let's debug that. And there's G1. We still have a, oh, there we go. Now, I bet we did a little extra work. Oh, wait, maybe it's just the layout. No, No, that doesn't make sense. I wonder if we did a little bit of work to this page without actually grabbing it. So let's take a quick look. This is our screen. Yep. Okay, so we need to put our Game Quest Step Monster in here. And we'll call this the Game Quest Step Monster Repeater. We need to pass it the current turn. So we need to... where's our current turn? It is... Oh, here it is, I think. Get turn. Yep. Monsters, we need to give it our Game Quest Step Monsters. Not the details. Monster. Living monsters. Wait, isn't compatible? Here we go. Get living monsters. Save. I don't know why we have two Hermiones though. That's a little off. Let's see. We saved that, so let's debug that again. And let's still have that. All right, cool. There's our ghosts. There's our goblins. We have 5. Let's take a look at our data. See maybe what happened here. Oh, we got extra game characters. Okay, so we have a bug. I don't know why it created Hermione twice and created I don't know what one time. So I'm gonna delete these because we don't need them. I'm gonna go over to GitHub and probably have to make a view for that too. So let's go over here and add one more browser view. And let's see. Oh wait, not a browser. Sorry, we want a screen capture. Doop. GitHub 2. You guys can see all my stuff here. There's my error report and issues. There we go. All right, I'm gonna do a little picture-in-picture here, but I'll try to remember to show and hide this as we go along. I also don't know why that is there. There we go. All right, cool. So here's GitHub. Here's GitHub. Instead of tracking a bunch of stuff in a haphazard way, I thought maybe it would be good to use a tool that we all know and love to keep track of issues and bugs and features and stuff. So let's do that. Let's find, what was that issue? I'm going to say that was new game creates too many game characters. Started a game. Let's see, picked 3 characters, got 5 characters. This is incorrect. All right, submit. Let's see, I want to put some labels on this. Kind of trying to figure out a convention. I'd like to be able to see what issues were originated with, based on what components. So I think this was flow new game. So I'm going to create a label for that, and then want to have a convention that I can show you the labels on this. I think. Can I show you the labels? Let's manage labels. Go here. It should show us everything. I don't know if this is going to be overkill or not, but I was curious, maybe using the labels as sort of a tagging grouping function, and then give them some context, like, what metadata component is it, and then a quick name, because there's a finite number of things in our in our Salesforce org. So why not try to group them a little bit? Because then I can go into this label, I can see what issues were created, as a result of this label, and just kind of see if we can keep it organized. And you can add multiple labels. So this is probably just limited to this new game. If I go to all the issues, I have I added this really as an experiment from projects, which we'll take a look at in a second. The end game state logic doesn't really do anything right now. If I recall from our last episode, it just kind of the game is over. That's it. There's no final screen. There's no congratulations. There's nothing. So I think that relates to, it probably doesn't relate to new game quest. Well, actually, it might. Actually, it probably relates to play. It relates probably to the play flow. But it does also relate to the game quest object, because we're not populating the data that we need to on it. Maybe. So anyway, convention, we'll see how that goes. I did put in an issue for what we just ran into, and we'll try to be good kids. And this actually also relates to the project that we're tracking. We don't have a milestone yet. We link this to we could link this to our branch. We're in episode 9. We'll see if we're going to fix it in episode 9. All right, cool. Grown up GitHub stuff. Yay. I'm going to hide this for now because it's right in the middle of our stuff. So we'll have to go figure out why that didn't do what it was supposed to do. But in the meantime, was actually just confirming that our images or our games are working. I'm sorry, our players are working as we expect. So after I do a little bit of screen management here, wow, that's a lot of screens, a lot of browser windows. Too many. I think we could say too many. Yeah, for sure. I have everything except the one I actually need to show y'all up on screen here. Did I lose it? No, I did not. Okay. Here we go. No, that's GitHub. Where'd it go? That's real weird. Where did you go? So weird. I don't know why it's not displaying anymore. Well, we can get rid of my Adobe error, at least. There, is that it? No, that's, what on earth? Sorry, y'all, I lost my... I don't know exactly what happened, but I lost my... There it is. There it is. Okay. There we go. Now I just realized that, all right. Nope, here we are. We are in this window. Let's bring this back. There, I gotta keep that. Gotta keep the width of that right. So, okay. We were playing. And if I refresh, running this again, and there we go. We got our ghosts, we got our goblins, we got Thor, we got Merlin. We don't need this anymore, I don't think. Is it Hermione's turn? Let's see. Let's check the game characters. And she should have a... Yep, she's got a turn. Let's actually look at all the turns on that game. Hermione is first. Okay. We also have two... We created two rounds, or round turns for those magical, mystical. We should probably say that this, just noting this in GitHub, this is also affecting the round turns. There we go. Away you go. Okay, but all that said, we do have... Nope, that's the wrong... That's the wrong... Okay. Thank you for playing. Wrong game ID. Okay, so we know that Hermione's active. We know it's her turn to pick a monster to attack. And these are our monsters. We got Disco Ghost and Admiral Goblin. And we don't need these anymore. This is what we used to use to pick with. So let's update our screen. I think we can get rid of this. I want to see if this is used anywhere else. So let's check our inventory of components and our screen component, pick a monster. Where are you used? Okay, so this is still used, right? Get selected step monster details. So one in our old model, when you clicked on this, it would retain the ID of the record that that was picked. And then we use that in this step. We basically go and get the details about that monster, so that we can have a little bit more information, and we can also, delete that monster if we need to if he's dead. And then where else is that used? Delete pending monster turns, right? So this is in here. If that is the result of pick a monster, then we're going to get rid of that, and then it's obviously in the screen too. So we need to replace this pick a monster stuff with the data, some data about, what is pick a monster. So actually, let's go back here if it'll let us. Let's go back into this. Come on. It's not going to let me edit the element. Hello. And refresh. Back here. There we go. So pick a monster. That's our API name. It uses living step monsters. If I edit this, we want all the monsters with more than 0 hit points, and then it's storing the monster, the ID of the monster. So that's our value coming out of that. So we need to change that. We can change that. We actually want the value coming back from our repeater. So let's look at what our repeater is returning, and that's our Game Quest Step Monster repeater. A little bit of a mouthful. So in our meta file, this is what lets the LWC and the flow talk to each other. We pass in we did both of these when we set up our component over here. So the current turn and the monsters. pass in both of those, input only, because we need those to render the component. And then we want to send back the selected game quest step monster ID. That's really what we're dealing with. That's our pick a monster value that we need to replace. So how are we going to get that back? Well, we have a very literal implementation of our kind of object model here. So the repeater, whoops, the repeater repeats over game quest step monster records to show what we have on the left-hand column here. Boop, boop, repeat, repeat. Two of those components that we're looking at right now. We pass in a few parameters. We always pass in the turn. I'm not actually sure why. I'll have to re-remember why we do that. But if I now go into one of these game quest step monsters, we're rendering a monster. We are going to handle a click here at some point. We are getting the hit points divided by the hit or over the hit points. So I had another. I don't have it as an issue yet, but I also created a project in GitHub, YCDRPG backlog, I called it. So this issue is surfacing here, which is kind of cool because I related it to the project. And then I have a bunch of to-dos. One of them is max hit points because we don't have that right now. All we're doing is showing the hit points of the person, but it's probably important to know how many hit points they have total out of all of that. So we'll need to come back to that. But for now, we're rendering this. This is essentially this crazy data here. I got to figure out why these values round the way they do. This is a whole number field in Salesforce, so I'm not really sure why it's trying to be this helpful. Maybe it originated as a field that had a decimal, and then I changed it to 0 decimal points. I don't know. That's curious, because these are fine. These fields are. Oh, you can't see those. Darn it. Boop. Looking at the hit points here versus the hit points here. They're both called hit points. They're on two different objects. They both have the same, definition of what scale and precision, but this is obviously very different. So that said, we'll come back to. We'll probably have to do our own, rounding cleanup around that, and then or figure out why the platform's just being a bum. We also need max hit points. Okay, so then this renders monster. So what we do want to do is have an on-click event here. We're going to come back to this in a second. If we go down one more layer, we've got our monster component. This is where that content version image thing happens. So we pass in the monster record ID, we pass in the filter that we want to use, and it gives us an image back. We also render a few things. There's a slot on this called, very intelligently, after name, in case we, rather than pass in this, for example, and have a very literal implementation of it within the component, you can say, just render what you want from here. That's also handy because the hit points are up here. Pass in the whole, we don't actually pass in the monster record or the game quest monster here, which is where the hit points are stored. So nice to have that opening to then pass into this component. I suppose I could also just have these below here, but maybe we'll do some extra sauce with the layout of a monster when we get to that point. Maybe 6 and 1/2 does the other. We might not need this slot after all is said and done. All right. Let's see how we're doing here. Sorry, I just always a little just want to double check that the that the stream is indeed working. And yes, it is. I use this app called Restream, and it does a really good job. But you can stream to multiple things all at the same time. It's kind of cool. Not sponsored. But I'm still getting used to it, and so I sort of babysit it a little bit to make sure it's doing what it's doing. So right now, this show is going to YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch. So 3 places at once. Pretty handy for that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're rendering our monster. So here's going all the way back, right? We need this value. We need the selected game quest step monster ID in order to pass it over to replace our pick a monster in our flow. To do that, I want to listen for a click of the game quest step monster, which is this component here. So if this gets clicked while it's Hermione's, while it's a player's turn, then I'm going to say, when we click that, send the ID up the chain. We're going to send a message, right? We have a message channel, which is the Lightning message service that allows components to broadcast or publish something to say, hey, yo, data here. And then other components can listen for those, subscribe to those, and then do something with them. So in this case, our message channel in our Game Quest Step Monster, when a click occurs, it's going to create a little data package, right, of the stuff that we care about. It's going to let us, we have a little bit of nomenclature, like what are the events that things can listen for. So we're going to pass that along. There'll probably be a whole list of these at some point. And then we pass along the ID that we want. We publish that to the channel. And then anything that's listening for that can do something with it. So we have this repeater, which is the connection back to our flow. So the repeater is going to listen for Game Quest Step Monster clicked. And when it hears that, it's going to send this flow attribute change event. This is how we talk, how our LWC talks back to our flow. And then it's going to pass the record ID, which is what we defined our structure to be like. We include the record ID when we pass this event. So probably going to need a little documentation around that if we wanted to be good about it, because we are sort of using, you could take 2 different approaches. You could have a whole bunch of message channels that are very specific for certain things. And when you create a message channel, it's like creating an object. In fact, if we just look at one, you put fields on it. They're all text fields. And you can have as many as you want. I took this minimalist approach and just say we're going to have one channel to rule them all when it comes to YCDRPG. And then I just have one field, data. And when I use that field, I'm actually just pushing JSON into it, a JSON formatted string. So it goes into the channel, packaged up as JSON. And then when you get it out, then you're going to deserialize it and use the values as you want. So the glue should all be in place. If we were to maybe add a field out here in our, let's put a text field out here and let's call it selected game quest step monster ID. I just realized I did that for the label. I'm going to use it for the API. Whoops. So we should be able to do a little of this reactive mojo. If we grab our screen component, here's our Game Quest Step Monster repeater. doot. Look, it has a value. Select a Game Quest Step Monster ID. So I'm going to put that in that field. And if we say done and we say save, and we finish saving soon. There we go. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's debug again. Hopefully, that value travels in the path that we're hoping it does. And we should get that back. I really need to put the play function, probably publish it, put the play function out here, but we're in so much flux right now that I'm still just debugging this to death. So eventually we'll publish a version. Okay, so this is blank because there's no value in my repeater component. Hopefully, let's go ahead and get some inspection up here. And I'm going to make one more view for y'all. Let's get one more screen capture, and we'll call this console, so we can see that. Dev tools, where are you? Here. There we go. Shrinking down a little bit. We'll put this on this side, actually. Hopefully that's not too small to not be legible. I want to try to capture this event. If I can find it. I can never remember where these are. We might have to refresh this, but let's just try it. Let's just kind of see if we get our ghost ID back. Oh, we did. And if I change it, yep, there we go. So the message service is delivering the selected ID that we need back. Instead of rendering this, like this isn't super useful, obviously, we can now use that property from our component and replace the pick a monster value. And then we won't need that pick a monster thing. So that'll be nice. And then what we probably want to do is when I click on this, I want to actually go to the next step so it can evaluate all the stuff that needs to happen from there. So we'll do that next. We did this in Uno a while back. It's very similar, pattern. Just again, it's not super elegant, but maybe we'll do something goofy, just like put a screen like component in here and then have like Hermione and the ghost like a bunch of like Looney Tunes cloud stuff, show the damage that was done, and then it moves to the next screen from there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We can also probably hide the next button here because there's no nexting to be done on this page. You really gotta pick a monster and fight it. Because these are two different components, even though they look exactly the same. So the monster component versus the player component. I don't have a click event here. We're gonna at some point because I want to be able to click and do stuff, like Merlin pick his fireball instead of his ice wall. I don't know. We haven't figured out magic for the game yet, but we're getting this engine kind of going, and we can start adding, continue adding to it as we go. All right, cool. So that's doot. Like not earth shattering, but cool. And we're using the message channel, right? I was originally going to have. It's also possible to publish an event, a custom event, from a child component. So really from our monster. From our Game Quest step monster, we could publish a event that the parent can listen for. That's how up and down the chain, right? That's how LWCs are allowed to talk to each other by default, right? So I could have the Game Quest step monster publish an event with its ID up to the repeater, and then the repeater could pass it that way. That can also work. But I'd like to get into the habit of using message channels so that, again, it's sort of like it's the same infrastructure for all event publishing and subscribing. and then we kind of build. We have a one place to build and monitor, you know, all of the everything that's happening there. I think then there's other ways to subscribe to a message channel, so we could maybe, you know, observe stuff in other ways. Okay, so that's all working. So let's go back to our our flow here. I'll hide that console. I don't know if we're going to get into code here for a few minutes, but so here's our screen. We won't need Pick a Monster, but I need to unravel all of this. Instead, we're going to use so I'm replacing Pick a Monster with our game component. So there's the selected monster ID. And then I'm going to save that. And then somewhere else, we were using the Pick a Monster component. How about I search? That would be smart. Delete pending monster. Okay. This one. We're going to use that here too. So, screen component, selected, cool. And then we can go back. Now, since we unraveled all of that, our dependency on this Pick a Monster is no longer, we no longer have that. I did not mean to make that bigger. I know this is a little crunched up, but I want to keep it, try to keep y'all on screen. We don't need Pick a Monster anymore. So I'm going to delete that. It should be cool with that. It is cool with that. I also am going to configure the footer because we don't want to show the next button. We really don't want to show the previous. There isn't really a previous here. There's just the standard stuff. So we're going to hide pause as well. There was a little funkiness when we created when we were working on Uno in terms of how to render the footer. We're going to render a custom footer. So that's, you know, that's another event that we can fire from an LWC. It lets us navigate our flow forward, back, pause. I think those are the three that I think it will support. So we're gonna have to do that, but you know, not right now. I'm gonna leave this out here just to make sure it's still no reason to feel like the value isn't going to be displayed. We probably could just hide the whole footer now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, okay, that's all done. Save that. So whoop. You can either allow finish or allow back, but not both. Oh, okay, fine. I don't think we're going to navigate very much here, so that's fine. Let's use the, if it lets us do it now. Okay, we get a warning instead of a error, and that's okay. Because on subsequent screens we can just we can take care. We can remove the other stuff. We're still going to need a finish on the on this play because it's going to it's going to restart itself. Actually, it'll be next on the next step. Okay, so in doing all that, we should be good with running Hermione's turn start to finish. And let's see, I saved that. I made a change, so I want to update here. Oh, wait. Does this play? No, that's new game. Sorry. Get rid of a few tabs. Do I still have the game ID? Nope. It's almost like I should just set it as a property in here. You know, why don't we just do that? Because I think we're just using game ID, right, to get. Yeah, we're passing in game ID, so I'm just going to Nope, stop it. I'm going to default that value to the flow that we're dealing with, or the record we're dealing with. Did I even get the right value? Yes, I did. Okay. There. Now we don't have to go nuts trying to remember what our game ID is. Debug. I think if I don't provide it, it should use the default. Cool. Our image files are a little big, so they're kind of slogging in. Probably don't need those 5 megs of 5 megs of images. Probably don't need to be that big. Anyway, we could scale those down. So let's. Whoops, I was all this talk about the next button. We didn't actually implement it yet, so we need this thing to go next after it after that click happens. And to do that, I'm going to open up Uno off to the side here, because we were definitely doing that over here. If I can just remember what component that was. We did the change. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't. No, we definitely did. I think. Yeah, we had a footer for this. Oh, here it is. Uno turn. That's real. Oh, I just couldn't see it. Y'all can't see any of this. Sorry. I'm just snooping around my own code here. Flow navigation next event. That's what that's called. So from the repeater, so we're going to call we're already using the change event here, which basically sends a variable back to, or sets a variable on the screen component that's in your flow. We're going to use the next event to go to the next page. I'm sorry, the next screen of our flow. And it'll run everything else in between. Like it's the same as clicking the button. And that's going to be a little easier than what we had here, because we do have to pass. Well, we set the property by doing the change event. We set the navigate next just by calling this. So that should do it. And we'll see how quickly pushing to the org is going to be. Oh man, I get this a lot. Get these default. I don't know why these global value sets. They're always super picky. It's weird because I could push the entire. Project back into the org, but I can't just. I'm going to just do a deploy from here and see if it feels good about that. There it goes. Okay. I'm still trying to get a handle on SFDX versus SF command line stuff. I'm still trying to get so deploy versus push feels like, I feel like I should know this stuff, right? But I don't. What changed? Why did it change? How did it change? What should I use now? All that good stuff. I find that the deploy function works better than the push function after you've put everything into your org. I still want to do a pull. I want to retrieve everything, and hopefully that's still working okay. Because I only refresh the component, I think I can just refresh the debug and it will play for us again. Okay, so when I hit the ghost, it should take us through the process that's already existing. Something went wrong. Oh, the next navigation isn't supported on this screen. Okay, replace it with one of the available options. That's really interesting. I didn't run into that before. I think probably because I had the next button already present on the page. Okay. So we may need to figure out a way to. I don't really want to. Well, I guess we could just have the next kind of cycle back, right? If you didn't pick somebody, well, that just feels a little clunky. But we could have it come back and have a show an error message or something like that. But that's interesting. I'm surprised. I thought that wasn't happening with Uno, but maybe it was. I just didn't pull the value off. Anywho, let's put the next button back out here. Nope, that's the pause. I'm going to at least hide the previous. I don't think we're ever going to go previous. Now, if I do that, but I hide the footer, what happens? Let's see. Yep, we know that issue. Debug again. Okay, so we have the we have the button hidden. So I guess I can just leave everything out there but hide the footer, and it's still happy about that. Interesting though that if you show the footer, or I'm sorry, hide the footer and hide the button versus show the footer and hide the whatever. uh, just a quirk, I guess. So that should be done, and then if we go again, right? So now we're stepping through into a monster step. And again, we're not going to need this, right? This should just be it's a different screen, right? So we're still going to use those two components, but we're going to flip it around so that we can see, I guess we have to show who's attacking who, right? So in this case, we want to show monster attacks Thor. So maybe we highlight both, and that's just what we have red or something like that, because we have a highlight function on our characters. We probably need that same highlight function on our monsters. We're getting to the point where both of these components kind of need the same stuff out of each other, and one would argue that should be a reusable component across both of them. But here we are. All right, so Goblin's turn. Let's just go look at our data a second. So in the quest, in the step, in the round, in the turn. So Hermione went, success, done. Now it's Goblin's turn. Done. Now it's Thor's turn. So I think we knocked down the. So again, this. Oh, there you go. Click, and so we went from 16. Now, see, I don't think we're updating the hit points here, though. I think we lost that in the process. So that still says 16. So that was interesting. We handled a click. Oh, we handled a click, but not in the inside the component. That was weird. Is that what I saw? No more rounds, need new turn. Next. Monster attacks Merlin. Hermione's up, but didn't. So this click, I'm surprised this click is being listened for outside of the. Let's inspect that. It's kind of weird. Console up. Oh wait, that's my old console. Can I find my old console? Maybe? Where'd you go, console? I don't have you. Okay. Well, let's get a new console going. Here we go. Have we enabled? I don't think we've enabled lightning debugging in here. Nope. That's important. Refresh this. Still Hermione's turn. Now I want to find our monster. Not that one. Where does it go? Thought it went in the flow, but it doesn't. Here. This one, I think, is the debuggable version. Handle click. So, is it going to handle this click? Yes, it is. There must, let's look at the markup in here. I would like to find... This is the full page. Yep. I'm going to have to do some digging here because I'm in mid debug. So, you guys ever watch paint dry? Runtime body. List container. Base section. Screen field. Container, base section. Here we go. I'm sensing a pattern. We're getting close. I can feel it. Here we go. There's a repeater. There's the... I think maybe we have to... I wonder if because it... well, all right, let me stop making... Yeah, that's why, right? It's the whole width of the thing. So it's not a showstopper, but it's, because actually the monster is the full width. I think we just expected to, when I click on the monster, then something should happen. So we may need to see if we can adjust the width of that. I think we could probably literally give it a width. That will be interesting. Let's see. Can I give it a width? 316 by 240. What if I just said like 180? Does that make it? Oh, that was the height. Sorry. I don't know. 240. Now, does it have... Yes. No. The whole component is still that wide. The repeater... that doesn't really matter. So it wants to... All right, it wants to listen in the whole thing. Now, the challenge would be... And this is probably like really splitting hairs, but because I think we could adjust our UI to fit the size that we have make that image sort of masked into the space, and it will just take up the width, and we'll do something clever with the layout to to support that. But versus trying to get that to to play nice. I think we should probably just let we don't know how they're going to be rendered or in what width. So trying to force a width would be weird versus allowing it to scale, and then making the whole thing, clickable at that point. So that's what's going on. So we are indeed picking something when that happens. Probably need a little bit of feedback from the from a UI perspective. So I think I'll summon the GitHub here. Move this over. Tell you what, we'll put GitHub on that side. We'll put our console when we render it on that side. Yeah, that's cool, right? Nice and laid out. I like it. I hope you do too. All right, that's like a new issue, I guess. Let's see. What if I just say game quest step monster? Component width, yeah. Let's see. Observe the game quest step monster LWC does not scale to the available space. Okay, that's in that project, and let's call that. So I'm going to make a new. I think I can do it right from here. I'm going to make a new LWC dash game quest step monster. Is that right? Yep. All right. Tag that. Save that. Done. And we don't have milestones. And submit that. Okay. I don't know if it's an issue, but it is confusing for the for the end user. So okay, we got that logged, and I think we understand what's going on, and we can continue. Whoops. Where's my... Excuse me. Sorry, I gotta find my window again. Why does this keep happening? Very, very weird. There you are. Hiding behind stuff. Let's keep this going in the debugger. Okay, that happened, but I still don't think we're doing damage. Yeah, Ghost is staying at 16 over and over again. I'm going to stop debugging in the console. Yep, Ghost stays at 16, so we need to find out why. So back here in play in our flow, we get the selected monster. get the damage, right? We use our hoodly hoo. I guess we should see if that's actually returning a value, right? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're not doing any damage. Let's see. This was set turn status, update selected step, monster dead, get character damage, damage null. Oh, because we have no experience points. I think that's why. Yep. So we probably are doing damage, but we aren't. We're doing damage, but we're not doing any damage. Right? So let's fix that. Because that's expecting some numbers here for each of these. And we're not setting those right now. So the characters in this in this game, right? Their XP is non-existent. All right, so I'm gonna give them all a little bit here. It's just 5 is my favorite number in my testing apparently. And okay, and our monsters also need experience points. I'm sorry, those are our game quest step monsters. Quest step monsters. They do have experience points. All right, so we are setting something there. So maybe I need to take a look at the just take a look at my data script here. My monsters, yeah, my characters, or I'm sorry, the characters are not getting it assigned. So it must be a new game thing that we need to implement. Another issue. Let's see. New game. Well, they shouldn't have any experience, right? I guess that's the kicker. Maybe we need to just give them one when it starts. Let's see, game character experience points. The attack, defend, logic needs XP greater than 0. Maybe give every new game character 1 XP? Question mark. Let's see. I might have flow. Yeah, I have flow new game here already. Okay, so that's something we'll have to figure out. Now that they have it, we don't have to just keep going around in circles with the lack of damage. New round. Monster attacks. So Merlin lost 3 points there. Okay, now that we have the data in place, I think we're getting stuff to happen. So now we'll have Hermione attack the ghost. Down to 11 because we're just doing 5. Merlin's going to attack the ghost. Monster attacks Thor. Attack the ghost. Done with the round. The ghost should... Okay. Wait, did the ghost not take damage that round? Were we at 11 or were we at 6? Thor's getting beat up now. Yeah, the damage isn't dropping. I think probably because the math is failing us in our... no, it should be working. We have all of that logic in our flow here. And our hit points go down. You can see it here. This is curious. Why is that null? Is it still creating? Oops. Nope. So for some reason, our damage is going down, but it doesn't go to 0. We update the hit points, but we don't get... Let's look at the monster in the step. That's the ghost, hit points 1. But we keep getting... Okay. Now our ghost should be gone. And it is. What was going on there? That was super weird. Were we just not doing any damage? I mean, it's not... We're not getting any feedback, right, from the app. So we need to know what kind of damage are we doing here. So let's fight the goblin now. Should go down to 4, right? Yep, down to 4. Thor's going to do 5. Should be done. But not. Merlin's try again. Now the ghost is back. What's going on, friends? That's pretty weird. What is up with that? Ghost is dead. But not dead. Okay, let's see what's going on below here. We get our character damage. We hit our monster. Right, that's the damage number. We subtract it. Okay. We ask, is the monster dead? Right, is this number now less than 0? The answer should be yes. We should delete those. We update the selected step monster. That is the one that we're making changes on. I wonder, and I'm seeing it update in the UI. There's absolutely no reason why that should come back. None whatsoever. Nor why that would be... Goblin's gone. Ghost. All right, let's go after Ghost. No change. Change. No change. Should be 9 now. We can get rid of some of these steps. 9. Thor. 9. Hermione. 4. Merlin. And now they're back. Are we creating new rounds? Is that what's happening? Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe I'm just totally playing the game here, and it's just rolling, right? Hence our need for some feedback. Yeah, we're just going through steps. I think that's what's happening. We're just playing, right? And then it comes back, and then this was a. Let's go back to a previous step because we definitely did some rounds. Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, so I think it's actually doing what it's supposed to do, but now there is something funky. It seemed like the damage wasn't going down every time. So there is something not quite right with that. Unless those characters just aren't doing damage, right? There could be an aspect of that in there. So maybe our logic for our subflow here that does our character damage. Let's open that up. So this just does a bunch of formulas based on the variables that are passed in. We calculate a couple ratios. The damage versus the defense. We compare some XP. So the raw damage is those ratios, times the damage. And then we adjust it. So if the raw is greater than the attacker, use the attacker, otherwise use the raw. I don't know if that's right, but that's what it's doing. Now, let's stop and restart and see if we can get to one of these attacks and what actually happens here in the debug. So Hermione attacks the ghost. Five damage. Came back. Okay, the ghost has 13 now. Now the ghost has less than 13. Down to 8. The ghost has 8. Monster attacks Hermione. Comes back with 8. I think that's what's happening is just when well, let's make sure we can drive this to done. Right? Merlin does 5. Ghost has 3. Thor does... Ghost should have been dead there. That's so weird. So Thor didn't do any damage. Does that make any sense? So it said he did 3. Well, Hermione hits the ghost. So now we have the goblin. There's now is Merlin's in the last spot. Does that have anything to do with anything? Hits the goblin. Hermione hits the goblin. The goblin should be, well, let's see. Are we back into a new round? Yes. Yes. Also, the numbers are randomized for the monsters. So, or the hit points are randomized for the monsters. So that's happening. It looks like Hermione and Merlin are taking damage. So that's good news, I guess. So I think what we need to do is show some. We need to get max hit points in here so we can maybe show the change. We need to get also get the figure out why does this happen. There's got, there's obviously some logic in here that says we hit the monster. This is from get selected step monster details. And that's the damage, so we subtract. Is the monster dead? Hit points less than or equal to 0. Right. Delete the turns that are pending for that monster. The only thing I could, well, no, because it's working otherwise, right? So it's not that. Like the logic is good. We're requerying here, so we really shouldn't have any like residual data going into that. So something's up. We need to turn off the console or GitHub so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry. The logic is good here. Seems good. I don't know. It's just that last. Let's beat up the goblin a little bit. Let's see if it matters what step they're in. Thor. Goblin should have been gone, right? Definitely should have been gone. Now, can Merlin get rid of the goblin? Now Goblin's gone. Weird. I wonder. No, because it's returning. It's showing that it's hitting the steps. I was thinking, well, maybe it's the last. Maybe it's the last. And whoever's in the last step here. Hit that. No more turns. Need new round. Yep. The ghost took no damage. He did get rounded correctly. He's down to 15. Hermione's taking damage, so that's good news. Thor is going to hit. Let's just make sure that Thor did some damage. Calculate damage. Null. Well, okay. Did we just not give Thor any experience points? That could be. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to take a quick break, grab a drink, and be right back. Let's see. Thor has no experience points. Occam's razor, people. Occam's razor. All things being equal, the source of the problem is the simplest. I'll check the most obvious first. All right, I'm going to come right back. If I can find my be right back thing. Oh no. We don't have be right back. All right, well, I'll leave you. I'll turn this off. And I'll do my obligatory thing on the screen. Be right back. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Gonna grab a drink. Be right back. Stay tuned. And we're back. Hi. All right. Where were we? Okay. We right back? Yes, we are back. Cool. Oh, right. We had an epiphany that Thor's not doing any damage because his experience points were 0. So now if we do go back over here and see that Merlin... let's see if it lets us get around to Thor again. Nope, Hermione's going to finish this one. But a new round begins now. Just want to get around to Thor to see it happen. All right, Thor, I think only did 2 damage, so that's interesting. But that's the algorithm just doing what it said it would do, I think. Because I gave 5 to each of to Hermione and Merlin, and only gave 1 to Thor. So I think that's working. Now you can see how ugly this whole experience is, right? If Thor is going to fight the ghost, we probably should have the next screen, which would be somewhere. Oh, is it all bundled up here? Let's see. Right. Done. Okay, so that's where we can, I think rather than have that here, well, let's think about this. We kind of need the monster and the character to do... They kind of do the same thing, right? We have our screen to select our players. We have we do the thing. We could really have it down here, right? I mean, we sort of already know everything that it doesn't really matter where it happens. We just need to know the damage, and I think we could hit the monster. And then we probably want here, right? Yeah. So this would be like our UI for showing the actual fight. And then however we want to do that, I guess is the next question. One thing that would probably be, so I feel like we could we actually pull forward the view where we have the I was just trying to think, can we show the dead monsters? No, we can't. Right now we can't because we delete the future turns. We could hypothetically keep them and then just bypass them, but that's not really that important. One thing I would like to do is build the step in a little bit more so that we can sort of set the stage for when we go from step to step. So maybe we can take a step back. And let's just look at our issues a second in GitHub. And is there anything that we need to... So we could probably knock out new game character experience points. I think we could do that one really quick. I'll assign that to me, and we're going to put that, we'll do that in our episode 9 branch. All right, let's go look at how we do that. So we'll back off from play for a minute. We'll go back to our, did I save any? I'm going to just save just in case. I don't recall making any changes, but who knows? Okay, go back, leave that. And let's see here. Just checking for... Okay, cool. That's also still working. Let's see what new game, right, is gonna... I think that's where our characters get created. Set new game, how character added, existing, add character to collection. Are we done? Create the game, create the new characters, loop the characters, init game character. I think we can do it here and here. This would be a little more elegant if we, I'm sure there's a more elegant way to, you know, de-loopify this thing, but for the time being, I'm just going to init experience points in both of these. Game character iterator experience points equals 1. And is there a problem there? That was weird. Game character experience points here equals 1. They both think something is wrong. Let's see, default game characters to 1 XP. All right, activate that. What I'm going to do is wipe out all of our data. I still got that darn GitHub console thing up. I gotta practice my production work over here. Sorry, I made a bunch of changes. You couldn't see it. Let's run our wipe data script. Uh-oh, where is my wipe data script? Oh no. Maybe I have it here somewhere else. Not there. Not there. Shucks, did I not save it? Must not have. Need that. Those are random notes. This was discovering how to do the linking. I think we're okay with that. I'm going to leave that for now. I might want to put some notes in the code around that. All right, well, shucks. I thought we had the wipe data script, but I guess we don't. Excuse me. Let's just do, okay. Delete, delete select ID from game. What's that going to leave me with? I guess that's the question. We can just make a new game. That's probably fine. Game. Let's run this. Interesting. Do we? We did. That's weird. We did get a rando character here. Maybe I was just stepping through the UI and inadvertently did an add character instead of a new character or an existing character. I don't know. Pick Thor. Next. Pick Merlin. Next. Pick Hermione. Done. Next. All done. Do we get any... We didn't get any new characters that time. How did our game shape up? G2. We just have 3 this time. So I think that issue that we opened has something to do with... Oh, let's check our experience points on these characters first. 1, 1, 1. All right, cool. So this has been... well, we can close this one as fixed. Fixed, updated. Move this to done in the backlog. Cool. All right, that is done. And what were we looking at? New game creates too many game characters. This looks like it's okay. I'm going to leave it open, though, see if we can spot the issue. You know, so created a second game, and this issue did not occur. Keep open to monitor. There we go. Okay. So yeah, let's leave that one open for now because I'm not sure why it did what it did. Okay. And okay, so that's good. So we got everything that we expected back from that. So I think we're good there. And I think we're good here. So we were... what was I trying to do? I got sidetracked there. Let's see. We were... should have wrote down what was next before going back to that issue. Oh, right, the steps. Yeah, so the steps, we want to have a better indicator of when they fire. So, or what they, have it look like something when you start a new step. So that might mean that we go take a look at what a step... let's look at our quests that are built. And then this has 8 steps. I'm sorry, this can have 8 to 10 steps. and each step can have 1 or 2 monsters. So let's bring back our, well, let's bring back GitHub again, because we have a link back to our data model. Your main branch isn't. Okay, I have to look into that. Our data model is, this is probably a little out of date too, but our data model is this. So our step is somewhere. Where's our quest? Oh, steps up here. Okay. So steps are, right now they're nothing. They're just a definition of the kind of, the kind of step that you could have. Right now there's no, like, I can't design a quest, right? So I can't, right now we're just sort of assuming it's got to be all random. And that could be fine if so in our exam, in our quest that we're in right now, we have let's see, it auto generates the step. It generates the step at the time of when it needs it. So it's kind of just in time. So it is very much like random in that sense. What I so we can either do two. We can do one of two things. We can make a quest have steps that are predefined, which will probably change a fair number of things in the logic of generating from one, from one to the next. We could also shape the quest a little bit to indicate what kinds of steps are available to it. So if we were to make a quest step relationship, we could then, yeah, that might work. Because our steps, I don't know if we don't have a step object yet. I don't think. Let's take a look. Let's look. Do we have a step? We don't have a step object yet. So what could we, if we created a step, the definition of it has us doing a few things. We give it a name. We could indicate the types of monsters that appear in those, in those kinds of steps. Then what we could do is say on a quest step, every step, every quest step can influence the step that gets created, right? And maybe we have some kind of scale so that you could say, this quest has 80% of its steps, or there's an 80% chance that a step is going to be whatever, grass. There's a 80% chance or a 20% chance that it's going to be forest, that would give you the ability to tune and say, like, all right, 100% of this quest is caves. And that would That would work. It just might mean you have to make more steps, or these are really step types, is what we're kind of creating with this dictionary. But you could have like cave, darker cave, scarier cave, whatever, whatever you wanted to do. And then I guess you could. I mean, technically, you could override the values of those steps into the quest. So maybe that's the way to go. Maybe we need a quest step object. We need a step object first because we want to define all these different types of steps. And I think I threw this biome thing on here because it's like, well, maybe you could group stuff together that's like logical, but we're going to kind of do that on the quest anyway if we take this angle. All right. Well, let's get ourselves a step object. I think we do need a new tab for that because it's going to be one of our top level objects. New custom wizard after saving, yes. Did we use the map already? I'm going to use how about a circle? Did I use circle already? Nope. Let's do that. All right, we don't want this on for any, because we're going to come back and set that up. We do want it in RPG. And now we need to do a little permission set mojo here. Because I don't think we have a set for this object yet. Nope. All right, let's make the set. Grant all access to the object. I still got the data model up. I'm sorry, hold on. Let's go back to GitHub. Hide that. And let's go into our object. And let's edit this step. Okay, make everything visible, etc. Okay, and then we need to, let's see, put this in our group. That is our step admin. Did I grant access to the tab? I forget. Yes. Okay. So now we should, I don't think I have it in the, nope, it's there. So now we should have some steps. We haven't created any, so let's create some. Let's just say grassland. So a step in the game is when you know, each step you walk through in the quest. But that's a game quest step. This step is just going to help us define what steps can be. What kind of, if I create these steps and I can, I'm going to want to relate them back to the step that they are, right? So as we create a new step, we do some random math, some weighted random math, I guess, and we can have pictures out here, right? So we can put some files on these, and maybe we just show like a background or something of where they're at. But for right now, we're just going to crank out a few steps to get started. Let's say grassland, I don't know, swamp, forest, cave, and volcano. Okay, there we go. There's some stuff. Now, not a whole lot going on with that, but let's bring our data model back up. Boop. There you are. So now some things that we will come back to are some of these variables that can influence what a step is like. And then what we're going to do, I'm not going to highlight, I'm going to put this in yellow because we're not done yet. Sounds good. We're going to create a new quest step. All right, so that's going to change game quest step a little bit. Instead of it just looking up to the game quest, it's going to have to look up through, well, does it? I don't know if it'll have to look up through that much. I'll have to see how that changes things. So this is going to look up to, I'm going to take this goofy thing out here. We get it. It just doesn't look right. We're going to, a quest step is a junction. Come on, pick a spot. Is a junction between our quest and our step. Okay. And we're going to need that object too. These will, I think, just be auto numbers. Okay, we're not going to make a tab for that one. Let's do permission set again. Quest steps. All right, let's add that to our group. I wish you could add a permission set to a group from the same UI instead of having to go over here. Maybe you can now, I just haven't, maybe I'm just not looking. All right, quest step admin. So now when we do that, when we add new fields, well, now I have access to that object. Let's go back and say new, I think we can master detail this to the quest for sure, because a step doesn't need to belong if a quest doesn't belong. Just do read only for now. Okay, and then do, technically the step shouldn't exist, or this shouldn't exist if the step doesn't exist either. So let's set that as well. Okay. So now we have volcano. We have quest steps, but not assigned to anything yet. Okay. So that is in. Oh boy, you know, I'm just not doing it right, guys. But let's, you know, I said all that. Let's bring that back up. So we got quest step. Make it yellow. All right, and then I'm gonna go back to GitHub because this is a feature that we haven't logged yet. So let's make a. I'm gonna call this in progress because I started already. Let's just call it quest steps. Let's see. We need a. Step object. Let's say we need a step object so that we can define attributes that will inform a game quest step record. We'll also need a quest step object as a junction between quest and step to inform what steps are allowed and in what percentage they should appear in any game quest created. Yeah, I think that works. Guess I'll make that me. Save the title. Now, do I create an issue for this? I feel like I have to create, because I don't know if it's it should retain it. So if I convert it to an issue in YCDRPG, now I can go to that issue and let's create 2 new filters. Say object step. All right, and then let's create object quest step. Yep. Okay. I'll keep this. Let's say created objects. Let's just say created bare objects and matching permission sets. Updated admin. Was it YCDRPG? Admin permission set group. All right, just comment on that. All right, so we've got our step object and our quest step object. So now if I go to quests, the Dark Cave of Darkness let's edit this layout. I'm going to tweak the top of this a little bit because it's kind of left side heavy. That's real hard to read, isn't it? Can I hide the panel? I don't think I can. All right, that's not legible. So let's just add a related list here. We're going to do game quest steps and save that. Sure, let's upgrade that. Not much to show right now, but we can go back. Now, this won't affect our existing quests. I don't think, no, these ones are gonna float through without this. But going forward, this will be the functionality. So as the Dark Cave of Darkness, we probably just want cave steps. All right. So I've assigned that. Now what I want to do is it's not really a percent guaranteed. It's kind of a probability, right? So let's edit the quest step object, and let's add a new field. I think let's just make a percent called probability. It really only has to be 3 digits. How likely is this step to appear in a quest? Answers that question. Right? Whoa! What was that? All right. And we're going to do nothing here. Oh, darn it. I got to set that value again. I thought I updated. I really have to update the project. Not the config. Where are you? I really have to update this to enable the new flavor of whatchamacallit. Permission set assignment. Whew, couldn't think of the words there. Okie dokie. Get 2 more of these for Christmas, by the way. Ooh, pretty cool. Feels like my screen has frozen. Is that true? It does look that way, doesn't it? I'm gonna go off and on with. See if that helps. I don't know. Have a bad case of frozen face? Sure looks like it. Well, I wonder when that happened. Nope, that didn't do it either. Well, okay. I guess we can just voice over here a little bit. Hopefully it's coming through at all on the stream. I don't know what happened to my face. I'm going to try one more thing, though. Do we have to... Nah, we'll just leave it off. All right. Imagine I'm here. Excuse me. Okay, let's finish our setup here. I do need to change that change that value, but we won't do anything here. We'll put it on the page. We'll go to, what is it, user, I think it's user interface. Where are you? User something. User management settings, I think. Yes. Field set security for permission sets during field creation. Yes, please. Anything else I want to turn on here? I don't think we need anything else for now. Okay, well, we do have to go back to our permission set and update this manually. Quest step. There we go. Hello. Oh, forgot to check those. Okay, we got a quest step. And so now, refresh this. So if the cave step is assigned to the Dark Cave of Darkness quest, we probably want 100% caves in this in that situation, because then that would allow us to, so where is this gonna fire up? It's gonna fire up in our flow. I'm probably not going to implement this today, but we can kind of get this started. When we create a new game quest step, so this is kind of the benefit of having all of these flows sort of cascading down. I get the game quest. I can get the latest game quest step. If I need to create a new one, then in here I can start defining things. So it would be here that I would choose the step and build our logic that would say, so that logic's going to be interesting, because we need to say, well, it's easy for the cave, but we want to take the, I guess so that, how would that work? Let's pretend for a second. Let's say we had, we have a, let's see, type equals grasslands. All right. We'll use our flaming volcano of fire. So type equals volcano. Right. I'm sorry. Step equals volcano. Quest equals flaming volcano of fire. Step equals volcano. Probability. Probability equals 75%. Now, we can still also have some caves in our flaming volcano of fire. And we can say that's 25%. Math's got to check out to 100, right? Probably should do a little mojo to make sure that that is the case, but we won't get carried away with that. Okay, so then time to pick a step. Time to pick a step for game quest step. Let's see, how would this work? If I said random times probability, right? So let's say if if I rolled a 0.4 and the probability is 0.75, right? That math is math. Is 4 times 75%. So that gets us a 3. And then if I rolled 4 times 25%, let's just say it was the same random for each of them. Right, that becomes a 1. So in that case, this would be roll for volcano, and then roll for cave. Not Dave. Dave's awesome, but he's not in the game. Roll for volcano, roll for cave. So we got a 3 and we got a 1. So volcano wins in this case. Then if we have another scenario where let's say volcano rolls a 0.2 and oh wait, did I do, let's see, 0.4 times 75%. I'm sorry, these are 0.3 and 0.1. Right. Doesn't matter, we're just looking for the higher number. Now, if we only roll a 0.2, then we get a 0.15 here. Right? So that's lower. And if I rolled a point, so what do I have to roll to, so would it be 0.15 divided by 0.25? I think I have to roll at least a 0.6, right? Because a 0.6 times 15%. Wait, is it 0.09? No, 25%, sorry. Would be equal. .6 times 0.25 equals, stop that. Just doing this math off to the side. That also equals 0.15. Right, so that's a tie. So then if I roll, in this scenario, if I had a 0.19 and a 0.61, what do we get? All right, that's 14.25. And then if we do 0.61 times 25, we get 15.25. All right, so then we have a win. So I think it works. Right? I mean, we would do two, what would we do? I would do 2 random calls to get these numbers. And I would multiply each of them by their probability. And then I would get a value back. Now this gets more fun when we say, hey, I've got 4 or 5 of these that could be the outcome. That does make it a little bit trickier. It's still the same math. We just need to compare, we're just comparing against each other. So it could be a loop where we pass in all the steps that you pass in all the quest steps at the start of a step. And you say for each of these, get the do the math, and if you're the winner, right, if you're the highest number, you continue on as the next, not the next competitor, but the next, what you're being evaluated next. So if I had like swamp, grass, forest, I'm going to pass all those into a subflow. It's going to do its mojo magic and loop through each of those and say, did you win? Or which one's the winner? Which one's the winner? Which one's the winner? And then come back with and return to me the winning step. And it would do this, basically. Do a random call, multiply by percentage, compare to the last random or the last winner. If the last winner was null, then make the first one the winner. No, don't do that. Just leave it blank. And but the first one in is the winner. I guess that's the comparison there. No, that's not true. The first one should run its numbers and then get compared to the next value. And then I don't think we want to change the number after the first time, so we don't want to like re-roll for comparison's sake. That's not what we're after. What we could do on the game, could we do that? No, we wouldn't do that. Never mind. I was thinking we could maybe store the value as it loops through, but that's not what we want. So this will be a subflow that takes the quest steps we have their probabilities, do the loop, pick the highest, and it returns whatever step ID is the winner. I think that's it. So let's write this one down before we forget. Sorry about the screen. So we have a to-do, or let's say a no status. We just kind of started thinking this through. Step selection based on probabilities. So this is probably, we need ability to calculate weighted random numbers for each step option in a quest. Compare them to each other and pick a winner. This sounds like a subflow that would take a quest step collection input and return a step ID output. Okay. Yeah, that's that. I'm having some technical difficulties here, obviously. So I think I'm going to wrap it. Despite the fact that, my beard is no longer on screen. Not that anybody cares about that. This feels like a good spot to stop because I have a feeling that this will be an interesting effort to get through. So I don't really want to get it started and then have to stop part of the way through. But I think we did a lot here today. Let me pull everything so we aren't missing stuff. But I think we got through the some of the logic around the I guess we restored or refactored the flow to accept the selected monster ID right out of our UI. We found some UI glitches that were based on experience points, so we fixed a couple of bugs there. I wanted to introduce the GitHub situation here, so we are using the project and issues to manage things. We've got a bunch of stuff to do, but I guess we'll leave it at that. I'll push the. I need to step through slowly how to make sure that issues that are associated with a branch get get associated correctly, and want to have them done, resolved before we push. I assume so. I'll do that between now and the next show, and appreciate if you're watching live. Thank you. If you're watching the recording, thank you. Have a great New Year's holiday, and we'll see you next week. I'm Tom, and you can't do that on Salesforce. Or can you?